I'm just super excited to be able to hop on here. I see what you've been doing with Purple Elephant for the last couple of years, which is insane, that it's already been a couple of years. I see the people that have taken your coaching program and they've taken it to the next level. People like Nikki in Albuquerque, Jacob, up in Wisconsin, and I'll always say Wisconsin the way he says Wisconsin. But yeah, your coaching has been invaluable to so many people that I respect. So I'm excited to be here.
I appreciate that so much, Zach. So let's dive in for people that don't know you, which there's probably only 5 people left on the planet that don't know you at this point. And
I have cold calls scheduled with those 5 people to get those out. So we'll knock them out.
We're going to knock them out. So tell us who you are and please tell us how you got started in real estate.
Okay. So, my name is Zac Anaya. I'm the Senior Vice President of the Perry Group. We are the #1 team for sales volume and closed transactions at Real Broker. I am primarily responsible for recruitment, expansion, onboarding, and maintaining our culture. So I'm a recruiter. I'm a headhunter. That's where if you watch this and you recognize this voice, it's because I've called you or I've texted you or something along those lines. I got my real estate license in February of 2020. And the world shut down about 3 days after I received my real estate license. So it was not exactly what I was anticipating, but it was definitely a way for me to stay focused in on what I was doing. I didn't start selling houses until May of last year. My first boss in real estate said, "I don't think you do very well selling houses. Why don't you do some transactions as a TC?" Wasn't very good at that either. And then he decided, hey, we like having you around, but let's try to get you into a recruiting role, which is what I had been doing at Northwestern Mutual before that. And so in the last 3.5 years, at the time of us having this conversation, I've successfully onboarded 487 agents to 3 different brokerages that I've been affiliated with. And in the year that I've been in production, about $6 million in volume and 20 transactions. So it's been and had a baby, got married, bought a house, moved states, moved back. So a lot of fun things since 2020.
Yes, you have absolutely been busy. Well, tell us, what are the similarities between recruiting and selling a house?
It's a great question. I was terrified to sell real estate. I was, just because I had that mindset of being told that I wouldn't be good at doing it. But my wife told me this, and I told it to you before we started recording, is you're selling yourself. It's going to be easy to sell a house. And the similarities are very simple. You have to maintain communication with your client base and with your recruiting base. And you can't make people feel pressured to either sell or buy a home or to change brokerages. So you have to maintain the sense of urgency without being pushy. And it's really difficult to do because if you don't get that sale, if you don't recruit that agent, you don't eat that night. So you have to have this calm demeanor while also pushing things to go forward. And I think just having a really organized database, using your CRM, I know you're going to like that. I have 2 very different CRMs for recruitment and sales, and it's all about timing and constant communication, because I think in order to get lucky in either one, and there is luck involved. In order to get lucky in either one, you have to have the opportunity. For instance, Erica, if you buy 1 lottery ticket and I buy 100,000 lottery tickets, who has a better odds of winning? You might win the lottery, but I have a 1 in 100,000 chance of doing it. And that's the way I look at real estate and recruitment. I talk to every real estate agent in the city of Albuquerque. Okay. And can I cuss on this? Can I curse? Is that,
No.
a vast majority of real estate agents in Albuquerque will tell me to fuck off. And that's fine. They told me to fuck off in 2020. They told me to fuck off in 2022. Guess what? A lot of them are working with me in 2023, and the same thing's going to happen with your clients, because eventually they're going to want to sell their house. They're going to want to stop renting. They're going to want to invest in real estate. And if you put yourself in front of them, as long as they don't block you or report you to the FCC, you're going to be okay. Okay. And that's my very long-winded answer of how they're similar.
I love it. Thank you. And the key is follow through.
Always, follow through 100%.
Right? Follow through. Beautiful.
Erica,
Okay.
don't forget, don't think I forgot either. I still want you to come work with me, and that's why I'm on this call. Actually, can we do the real explain? Can we bring it in?
Live follow through right now. Look at this. This is a treat. Okay. All right, Zach. So here is what everybody is tuning in for, what they are watching for. I am so sorry, but you just lost everything. Your business has been burned to the ground, and all you get to keep. All right, you get to keep your clothes. All right, we're gonna keep clothes on. All right, you get to keep clothes and your expertise. Okay, all of your knowledge and your expertise. So, what would you do to recreate the amazing success that you've had now, starting from day one? So, what is your immediate action?
So I think I am uniquely qualified to answer this question more than anybody you will talk to in any of these interviews that you do, Erica. And in order to answer the question on what I would do, I have to go back in time. So I'm a recovering addict. Okay. At one point in time, I was homeless. I lived under the bridge. Well, not lived. I slept under the bridge on Rio Grande and I-40. Ironically enough, I ended up getting a job at the office right next to that bridge. But I would do exactly what I did. You have to humble yourself. You have to be willing to go into a place where you are not going to be even close to the top of the food chain. I would have something that I didn't have back then. I would have my expertise in the market, recruiting and sales. Back then, I didn't have anything. And what I did is I surrounded myself with people that were experts in what they were doing. Erica, you were there. I would surround myself with a coach that's going to help me plan out what I'm going to do on a day-to-day basis. What's the first step? I mean, when people get their real estate license, you have this piece of paper that's great. You know the law, you know how many feet are in an acre, but you don't know how to sell real estate. So you need to get somebody like Erica. And then I had a young lady named Deanna McGuire who knew how to do a transaction inside and out. You need to have someone that has the expertise that's done hundreds, if not thousands of deals in their career to learn how to do a transaction. And then I had Daniel Torres at Rock as well that knew how to market you. Even if you've never sold a house, I looked like Grant Cardone up there. And I wasn't as chubby as I was now. I looked really good. So surrounding yourself, that's what I would do, is surround myself with experts. And even, the owner of the company, the president of the company at that time, both of whom, it wasn't a great breakup with that previous company. They served their purpose. Is I learned how to be a successful leader, how to lead people, and also what I wouldn't want to do and how I wouldn't want to treat people. So you have to put yourself in a room full of like-minded individuals that you're going to learn from, and people that are not like-minded. And I think that's the big disconnect that happens in this business is people try to be around people that are like them. You're never going to learn. Like, I think you and I have two very different personalities, Erica, but I've learned a lot from you in the last 3.5 years. So what I would do is surround myself with people that are going to teach me and be able to be part of that group and teach that group as well. Just a constant flow of information. And that really comes down to finding the right brokerage. Honestly, and this isn't a pitch for real. I'm not going to get into that. But if you're deciding on the brokerage that you want to join simply based on splits and fees, you're going to burn out. You're going to fail. You need to find an organization full of like-minded individuals and grow with them. And then make a financial decision later on down the road, like I did, like you did, and then grow that way. But yeah, definitely humble yourself and find a good group.
That's really great. So get around people that are like-minded and that are opposite from you as well.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
I think that's really important. What would you say are some red flags or indicators that you might not be at the right brokerage?
So first and foremost, if you're not selling real estate, I think that, we get so many convoluted answers, like if you don't feel comfortable, if you don't feel like you're at home, that's important. Don't get me wrong. Culture is important. I mean, we were at a brokerage, you remember, we'd stand up in the meeting and they'd say, give me the core values, and you'd have to list them, or give me the mission statement. But if you're not selling real estate, you're in the wrong place. Secondly, if you're selling real estate and you're not happy, you're in the wrong place. It's very much of finding the balance of culture and cash flow. And Henry Padilla actually told me that today, finding that balance. But yeah, I mean, it's a very, very simple answer. If you're not making money, in an industry that's designed for you to make ungodly amounts of money, you're not in the right place. Go sell some houses. I sold 2 houses last month and I made more than I did at that brokerage you were talking about in my salary in a year. It's very much doable if you're in the right place.
Yeah, it's like you said, it's got doable, but you have to be in the right place. You have to have that support system. So you said if you're not selling real estate, that's the red flag that maybe you're in the wrong place.
Yeah. And then if you are selling real estate and you're doing it completely on your own and you're giving away half of your income, you're also in the wrong place. I want you to picture this. So I've been at EXP, Berkshire Hathaway, and Real Broker. Okay. All 3 of them have their strengths. All 3 of them have their weaknesses. And I like Real's not perfect. We're a cloud-based brokerage. You know, my partners are in different states. So if you don't work well, not being face-to-face is not the place for you. But my biggest thing at Berkshire was I was paying a split and I had no problem paying the split. But then I was paying 6% in franchise fees. Why? Because Warren Buffett owned the company? What was Warren Buffett doing for my day-to-day sales? That 6%, you know, could tally up to $8,000 a year. What could you do with that $8,000 a year? You could join Purple Elephant Coaching. You can, you know, buy Facebook leads. You can buy Zillow leads. There's so much that you can do with that income that you're essentially giving away. And then you have, you know, like the EXP model where it's simply set up for you to bring in other agents and build your revenue share. So both of those work for some people. There are people that have been in Berkshire Hathaway since the 80s when it launched. There are people that will never leave EXP. Hell, my friend Gene bought a boat with revenue share. It works. But it's about finding where you want to belong. And I had to try a lot of different things. And I get a lot of heat for it, Erica. So I'm glad that I'm on here. I get a lot of heat for it. Like Zach jumps brokerages. First off, you don't pay my bills. Second off, I had to find the right fit for me. Like if you married the first girl or guy that you ever met or dated, would you be happy right now?
Yeah.
Same situation with the brokerage. And Real, I left Real and I came back. You have to keep trying until you find the right situation. So had to get that one off my chest.
Good for you for not letting that peer pressure essentially, or like judgment, and to actually find what's best for you and your business and your lifestyle. I think a lot of people want that courage, but they're afraid of the backlash, right? I mean, don't you feel like you actually have the freedom? Like, don't you feel more empowered actually that you did that anyways?
So, I mean, I feel amazing that I made the switch. And, you know, Michael Perry and I, who you're going to have on another interview, we talked about it before I came back. And I was like, I'm just terrified of what people are going to think if I go back to Real. And he goes, why? Like, why are you afraid? Like, it doesn't make sense for you to make decisions based on other people's perceptions. And that should never be the case. I mean, Erica, you took a massive risk launching Purple Elephant. I know you did. I was there with you before Purple Elephant and I watched you make it happen. Like mine wasn't nearly that big of a risk. And the only people that a change in brokerage is going to affect is the person that makes the change and the person you're paying the split to. If you have people on your team, in your organization that are going to make you feel bad about changing brokerages to better your life, here's a little secret. They're not your friend.
Yeah.
They're not. I'm sorry. That's all there is to it. Because Michael, when I left to go to Berkshire Hathaway, he didn't make me feel like shit. Henry Padilla, who was at Real when I left to go to Berkshire Hathaway, still one of my best friends in the world. But the people that made me feel bad when I left, they're not my friends. Jim Pitts, he's the owner of Berkshire Hathaway. He and I watch the Yankees together every night and we text each other back and forth. That's a friend. He's the only person that was affected by me leaving, and he still cares. So if you are afraid to leave your brokerage, whether it's to come to Real, go to Keller, go to EXP, start your own brokerage, don't be afraid to do it.
Yes.
Because we're not in high school. We're not like a group of buddies that you're going to leave and go hang out with somebody else. It's about building a better financial future for your family. And I think we've done pretty well, Erica, by taking that risk.
Yes, I agree. Yeah, no, that's a beautiful answer. And I appreciate you being so candid and so genuine. And for anybody who's listening, like this is 100% raw, authentic truth,
Mhm.
right? And that's really powerful. We don't often get that ever in our world. So to hear just 100% genuine facts from you is refreshing. So
Well,
thank you.
this is why I say it like that, Erica, and I do this on my recruiting calls too, is I will never lie to you in this business. I won't, because I would much rather never sign you than lose you because I didn't keep my word.
Right.
And there's going to be people that don't like me. Hell, I don't like, hey, I know you love Grant. I don't like Grant Cardone. What's the guy with the 75 hard thing? I don't like him.
Priscilla.
I don't like Andy Frisella. I hate him. And people aren't going to like what I'm saying. But
Yeah.
if there's one person that's afraid right now to make a move or to make a change, and it's not even about changing brokerages. If there's somebody that wants to be a real estate agent, but they're afraid because they don't know what to do, this business is entirely built on risk and reward. And there is a lot of risk, but there is a lot of reward if you surround yourself with the right people.
I agree. I agree. All right, let's move on to the next question here. So you already mentioned that you would not do anything differently, right? You would go the same route.
I do a very similar route.
What I'd like to hear is, well, if there's any changes, I'd love to hear what changes you would make. But I'd also like to hear from your recruiting perspective. What are the mistakes, the common mistakes you see people make over and over again? Because you get to see that. And because you have moved around, you've seen multiple people do that multiple times, right?
Yeah. So I'll answer that question first. The biggest mistake that I see real estate agents make, and it's weird because I just told you move if you want to move, is they don't give their brokerage a chance. I left because it was a better financial situation. You know what I'm saying? But if your brokerage is offering you the tools, like let's just say, Erica, you're at Keller Williams, right? And you've been there for 6 months and you haven't sold a house. And we're talking back and forth. And I say, why do you want to leave? You say, oh, well, I haven't sold a house. And I say, okay, well, how many trainings have you been to? I know KW does 6 trainings a day. Oh, I haven't had a chance to go to them. You're in your own way.
Yeah.
So the biggest mistake I see is people think they're going to get their license and they're going to get rich quick without getting into the weeds. You know, I sat through Bold at Keller Williams. I went through the EXP Express training. I've done a lot. And I think it's Josh Robinson who put this on Facebook the other day, is overnight success takes a really long time to get there. So you have to be willing to put in the work. If your brokerage is offering you something, do it. If they're offering mentorship, if they're offering training, if they're offering leads or, you know, even phone time to answer phones, you have to take advantage of it or you're going to fail. I mean, brokerages let us down a lot of the times, but most of them give us the tools to be successful. It's just if those tools mesh with you or not, you have to give them the chance. And then what was the other one? I'm so sorry.
No, you're good. If there were any tweaks that you would have made to your plan, from what you actually did to what, if you could restart, what would there be any little tweaks that you'd make?
So I would have sold real estate right away. I think that, you know, that first brokerage, they told me I couldn't sell real estate. Like you can't recruit and sell at the same time. It defeats the purpose of doing one or the other. I've been pretty successful doing both in the last year. So I would have tried to sell immediately. I think I had like 4 referrals year one that could have been my own deals. But that's what I would change. I mean, there have been a lot of hiccups. There have been a lot of up and downs. I mean, trust me, Erica, it's difficult for me to text somebody and say, hey, this is Zac Anaya, and try to pitch real to them. And then they say, weren't you with Berkshire or weren't you with EXP? Like, why would I trust you when you've changed brokerages more than, most people change their underwear? Like that's one thing, but yeah. I've learned something from all of them. At EXP, I learned from some of the best recruiters in the country. At Berkshire Hathaway, I learned from Jeremy Navarro, who still answers my questions to this day. Marissa Garcia over there is absolutely fantastic. So maybe I would change how things ended at other brokerages, but the relationships that I've built, the mistakes that have been made, they've all been vital to my success. When I'm not like, incredibly successful, I'm not in like 7-figure range or anything like that, but it's better than where I was 3 years ago, under the bridge to, a brand new house and a family. I think it's a pretty big swing.
Yeah, I'd say. All right. So those are great. So let me ask you this, Zac, for anybody who's listening right now, all right? If they are in a slump or if they're brand new and they just don't know what to do, right? What action would you give them to create their next sale or to really just get their head back and on a good trajectory again?
I don't know. I'm not the person that you ask that to. You need to get a coach. And this isn't a plug for you, Erica. That's not what this whole thing is I'm not the person to ask. And that's the thing is real estate agents need to learn who is the person to ask. That is probably the biggest takeaway that I can give you right now is who's the person to ask. If it's like you have a question about photography, you call Media Kingsman. If you have a question about recruitment or different brokerages, you call me. If you have questions on how to grow your business, you call a coach. You have to be willing to spend money. You have to be willing to put yourself out there and be vulnerable. I take lessons from people that I learn from all the time. So I should not be answering that question for agents. They need to be calling someone like you to have that question answered. Because I'll tell you what I do. You're not going to do what I do. You're not going to go knock on doors and call 1,000 people. You're not going to send mailers out. You're not going to spend time recording content and reaching back out to people from your high school reunion because you might not be from here. You might, you might not have people in your sphere that can afford to buy a house. Like there are so many things, and a coach like Erica is going to teach you different ways to grow your business. So don't ask me because I'll tell you to call Erica.
I appreciate that. I think that's some solid advice for anybody listening. No, but in all seriousness, I mean, it is absolutely true because and let's say it's also dependent on their goals and expectations, right? If you don't want to skip any time, if you don't want to waste any money, if success now without doing all the trial and error and figuring it out and making crazy mistakes that everybody else already know, but you just don't know, right? If you want that shortcut, then let's go to the expert who has figured it out for you.
Well, let me put it to you this way. The real estate dues at GAR come out to right around, I think, $1,400 to $1,500 a year. To get your license, you're going to spend another $2,000 from licensing, taking the test 4 times like I did. You might take it once. And the pre-licensing classes. So you're looking at a total investment of about $4,000. And if you're not willing to invest a little bit more to jumpstart your career, that $4,000 is going to be a complete waste of time. The way I like to picture it is imagine you buy this beautiful boat. You polish it up, you get the engine running, and then you get to the lake and there's no water. And you don't know where the other lake is. You just wasted all your time, all your resources on something that you just can't use. And that's the way it is with the real estate license. Right now, in the city of Albuquerque, we have 1,300 homes for sale. Attached, detached, manufactured, whatever. You're competing with thousands of licensed agents for those homes. If you think you can do it by yourself, freshly out of school or without having done any transactions, you will probably fail. And of course, there's going to be 1 or 2 people that, is successful because they got lucky. But if you want to take the odds on being lucky as opposed to being prepared, then more power to you. Good luck, because it's a difficult business to get ahead in if you don't have someone in your corner.
Yeah, especially right now with the way the market is shifting and the nuances of this market, especially compared to a lot of people got in around your time, right, with the Corona market, and it was completely different, the Corona market.
Oh my God. It was life-changing. Like I had my friends in Salt Lake City, they couldn't even put a sign up in the yard before it would go under contract. And I remember my first deal, there were 27 offers on the property. And we had to do appraisal gaps and inspection waivers. And, my father-in-law, Marty Padilla, he's a lender, and he was just pre-qualifying people left and right at 2.25%. And we're not like that anymore. Your buyers are hesitant. Your sellers are getting impatient. And if you don't know how to handle people, first and foremost, you're not going to be successful. If you don't know how to talk to those people, you're not going to be successful. And if you don't know how to set yourself apart, you will not be successful. Period. I am very different from every real estate agent that's watching this, very different from every real estate agent that I know. And every single successful realtor is completely different from the other successful realtor. Joe Myers and Sandy Presley are two very different people. David Roybal and Tigo Venturi are two very different people. Michael Perry and Jack Perry are two very different people. Be you.
Yes, there you go. That's it right there. Be you and be great. All right, Zac, I appreciate your time. This has been so much fun. It's been great to reconnect with you and sharing some vital information for people to hear about. We'll certainly be in touch, okay?
Thanks, Eric. Appreciate it.